Kylian Mbappé wasn't born into fame. He was born into a dream. On December 20th, 1998, in Bondy, France, a suburb known more for struggle than stardom, a future legend arrived. Mbappé's family wasn't ordinary. His father, Wilfried Mbappé, was a coach. His mother, Faiza Lamari, was a former handball player. This wasn't just a household. It was a training camp with love. Before the world saw him sprint past defenders, he was just a kid chasing a ball at local parks. Small body, big confidence, and a dangerous smile. People in Bondy began saying, "That kid, he's different." Kylian joined AS Bondy, his hometown club. His father coached him, but didn't treat him like a star. He treated him like a future professional. And Kylian learned early, talent isn't enough. Even at a young age, Mbappé played like someone had pressed fast forward. Defenders couldn't touch him, goalkeepers feared him, and coaches didn't know whether to clap or panic. Then came the invitation every French kid dreams about. Clairefontaine, France's famous football academy. Mbappé entered the system that helped shape icons, and he didn't just fit in, he stood out immediately. Rumors spread. Scouts arrived. Even global giants were paying attention. Real Madrid, Chelsea, and more. A young Mbappé even met Cristiano Ronaldo, his idol, and he looked like a kid meeting the future version of himself. Instead of rushing to the biggest club, Mbappé chose development. He joined as Monaco's academy, where young talent actually gets chances. This decision would change football history. At Monaco, Mbappé trained harder than ever. Speed, natural, finishing, improving, confidence, off the charts. He wasn't just dreaming anymore. He was preparing. In 2015, Mbappé made his professional debut for Monaco. He was only 16. Most kids that age are worried about school tests. Mbappé was facing grown men and beating them. Then he scored his first Monaco goal, and just like that, France had a new prodigy. The football world started whispering his name louder. The 2016-17 season was his eruption. Mbappé didn't improve. He exploded. Goals, assists, big moments. Monaco were no longer underdogs. They were champions in the making. In the Champions League, Mbappé was fearless. He scored against giants. He ran at defenders like they were cones, and fans realized this wasn't hype, this was real. Europe was now chasing him. Every elite club wanted to sign him. But one club had a plan and unlimited resources, a club from Paris. In 2017, Mbappé joined Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, on loan, later becoming permanent. It became one of the biggest deals in football history. He wasn't just joining a club, he was joining a mission. At PSG, Mbappé had stars beside him, Neymar, Cavani, Di Maria. But Mbappé wasn't intimidated. He didn't come to watch, he came to take over. Week after week, he delivered. His runs were impossible. His finishing improved. His reputation grew. He became PSG's most terrifying weapon. But there was another calling. France. Mbappé had already played for French youth teams. Now the senior squad was waiting. The biggest stage in sports history was approaching. Mbappé debuted for France in 2017. Young, fearless, direct. He looked like he belonged immediately, and France could feel it. Their next superstar had arrived. In 2018, France went to Russia. Mbappé was just 19, still a teenager, but he carried himself like a leader. Then came the match that made him global, France versus Argentina. Mbappé ran riot. He destroyed defenders. He scored twice. He won a penalty. That night, he didn't just play, he arrived. Suddenly, comparisons started. Pelé, Ronaldo, Henry. Mbappé was now the face of a new football generation, and the world couldn't look away. France reached the final against Croatia. Mbappé scored, France won, and at 19 years old, Mbappé became a World Cup champion. After becoming a world champion, he didn't relax. He returned to PSG faster, sharper, more ruthless. He wasn't chasing potential anymore. He was chasing greatness. For years, football belonged to two kings, Messi and Ronaldo. But now, the crown was looking for a successor, and Mbappé wasn't waiting politely. At PSG, one goal remained: win the Champions League. Mbappé kept scoring domestically, but Europe demanded more. Every knockout game became a test. In 2020, PSG reached the Champions League final. For Mbappé, it felt like destiny, but they lost, and sometimes defeat becomes fuel. Mbappé began evolving, not just as a scorer, but as a leader. He demanded more. He pushed teammates. He started carrying the pressure like it belonged to him. Then came an unreal era: Mbappé plus Messi plus Neymar, a trio that sounded like a video game. But football isn't played on paper. Expectations became heavier than ever. Every summer, the rumors returned: Mbappé to Real Madrid. Fans argued, media exploded, and Mbappé stayed calm while the world lost its mind. For France, Mbappé became more than a player. He became a symbol, a role model, a superstar carrying a nation's hopes with every run. In Qatar 2022, France returned as defending champions. Mbappé wasn't the teenage sidekick anymore. He was the main character now. Goals kept coming. Mbappé played with anger and hunger. He wasn't just winning games, he was dominating them. France versus Argentina, the greatest final many fans have ever seen, and Mbappé scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final. That's not normal. That's legendary. But France lost on penalties, and Mbappé stood there, with heartbreak in his eyes. Yet even in defeat, the world knew this was one of the greatest performances ever. Now Mbappé was in his prime, faster than most, smarter than ever, more complete, a striker, winger, finisher, creator, whatever his team needed. Eventually, destiny called again, and the world watched for the moment he'd been linked with since he was a teenager, a new chapter, a new kingdom, a new pressure. By now, Mbappé's international career includes World Cup winner, World Cup final hat-trick, multiple tournaments carrying France, becoming France's leader for the next era. He wasn't chasing history anymore. He was writing it. When the boots are finally hung up, fans won't only remember his goals, they'll remember the feeling, that moment when Mbappé picked up the ball, and everyone in the stadium knew something is about to happen, because Mbappé wasn't just fast, he was inevitable. If you enjoyed this documentary, drop a like, subscribe for more football stories, and comment below. Is Mbappé the greatest player of his generation, or is his best chapter still coming?